Top controversies of the Paris Olympics. Memorable but most controversial moments were present at and away from the Olympic venues during the 2024 Paris Olympics, with some being more contentious than others. Here are a few of the most widely discussed events from the Paris Olympics. Arrested athletes. It appears that certain athletes were not behaving in a manner that was consistent with their greatest performance while outside the Olympic Village. Prosecutors announced on Wednesday that a member of the Australian Olympic field hockey team was apprehended in Paris for attempting to purchase cocaine. Police interrupted a narcotic transaction outside a building in the 9th arrondissement of Paris overnight, according to a statement from the Paris prosecutor's office. They stated that the investigation had been transferred to a police anti-drug unit for further investigation. According to prosecutors, the purported purchaser was a 28-year-old member of the Australian field hockey team. Additionally, the 17-year-old purported seller was apprehended. In the end, Tom Craig issued an apology for his terrible mistake. Craig expressed his regret for the events of the previous 24 hours, as reported by the Australian Associated Press. "I have made a grave error and accept full responsibility for my actions. My actions are entirely personal and do not represent the values of my family, my teammates, my friends, the sport, or the Australian Olympic team. I apologize to all of you for the embarrassment I have caused." Craig was escorted away by an Australian Olympic Committee official without answering any questions following his statement. Subsequently, the Australian Olympic Committee stated 2024 team commander Anna Meares, in which she stated that Craig had forfeited his Olympic privileges and been relocated from the athlete's village. Moreover, the Olympic Committee of Egypt has announced that the sport's governing authority will investigate Mohamed Ibrahim El-Sayed, a wrestler who won a bronze medal in Tokyo, for an alleged groping incident that occurred in Paris. A 26-year-old Olympic wrestler from Egypt was apprehended by French prosecutors on Friday on suspicion of sexual assault. According to a statement from the Paris prosecutor's office, the athlete, who was not identified by prosecutors, was apprehended early Friday after allegedly groping a woman from behind outside a Paris cafe. Subsequently, the Egyptian Olympic Committee declared that El-Sayed would be subject to an investigation. The athlete is subject to disciplinary measures, such as a suspension from domestic and international competitions, for irresponsible behavior, which occurred mere hours after he had completed his Olympic competition and was scheduled to return home, according to the statement. A juvenile swimmer is currently the subject of controversy amid allegations that he was expelled from the Olympic Village for allegedly fostering an inappropriate atmosphere. According to the report, Luana Alonso, a student at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, is a specialist in the 100 meters butterfly and was competing for her native Paraguay at the Olympics. Nevertheless, it was not her performance at the Paris Olympics that garnered attention for the 20-year-old. The Paraguayan Olympic Committee was dissatisfied with her alleged conduct, which included her departure from the Olympic Village. According to the report, Larissa Scherer, the mission head of the Paraguayan Olympic Committee, requested that she depart the Olympic Village promptly, stating that her presence had established an unsuitable atmosphere for the Paraguayan team. The Paraguayan Olympic Committee was contacted by NBC New York for a response. Anthony Ammirati, a French athlete, established himself in Paris during his Olympic debut, although he did not win a medal. According to TMZ, the 21-year-old Frenchman, who gained attention on the internet after an incidental crossbar crotch clip cost him a chance at the podium, was offered a substantial sum by an adult entertainment company for a video exercise that omitted the bar. The website asserts that it has obtained a copy of the offer letter from a live-streaming webcam pornography platform. The transaction is purportedly valued at $250,000. It is unclear whether Ammirati would be amenable to the reported position. Meanwhile, he is contemplating this significant oversight. In the limelight, boxing. Last week, Algerian boxer Imane Khelif's name was at the top of Google searches after a 46-second bout that resurfaced gender test issues. She continued to dominate 2 additional matches to advance to the final, where she remained at the forefront of global headlines. I have yet to witness a point scored against Khelif in these Paris Games before the final. After failing an indeterminate gender eligibility test, Khelif was disqualified from the 2023 World Championships. Her attendance at the Paris Olympics has become a contentious issue. There is no indication that she identifies as transgender. IBA, the 2 athletes were disqualified from the World Championships, according to Russian President Mark Kremlin, who claimed that DNA test results indicated they possessed XY chromosomes. The IBA also noted that Khelif's system contained elevated levels of testosterone. Nevertheless, the test results were never published, and Khelif has never disclosed her biological markers, referring to the decision as a big conspiracy. Khelif's disqualification occurred after her victory over Russian boxer Azalia Emaneva in the 2023 tournament. The International Boxing Association, IBA, alleged that Lin's bronze medal was revoked due to her failure to satisfy unspecified eligibility criteria in a biochemical test. Throughout the years, the IOC has expressed its dissatisfaction with the IBA's management of the sport and ultimately prohibited the Russian-owned organization in 2019. The IOC stated on Friday, stating that it maintains its support for the athletes and their eligibility to compete. It also noted that the Boxing Association's documents indicate that the decision was made unilaterally by the IBA's Secretary General. It is also stated in those documents that the IBA resolved at a meeting to establish a clear procedure on gender testing after the two fighters had already been disqualified. What is the method by which the Olympics evaluate gender qualifications? After the IBA was banned, the IOC implemented regulations in 2016 to ascertain the eligibility of boxers based on their gender. The IOC's spokesman, Mark Adams, informed reporters that the regulations are left to the international regulating bodies of each sport, as they are the most knowledgeable about their respective disciplines and sports. I trust that we can all agree that we are not advocating for the return to the era of sex testing, which was an appalling and harmful practice. This pertains to actual individuals, and we are discussing their lives. The Olympics have a long-standing tradition of sex testing, and practices such as invasive physical examinations have been exposed as abusive. In recent years, the IOC has revised its policy to be more inclusive and no longer mandates that athletes undergo medically unnecessary procedures or treatments, according to reporting by NBC News. The International Cycling Union, World Athletics, and World Aquatics are among the Olympic sports governing bodies that have revised their gender regulations in the interim. Additionally, the track and field governing body implemented tighter regulations regarding athletes with disparities in sex development last year. Is it possible for women to have elevated testosterone levels? In other words, the same way that numerous men may experience insufficient testosterone levels. However, women who have higher testosterone levels have been subjected to a greater amount of criticism and inquiries regarding their gender. As Adams addressed the boxing controversy, he stated that testosterone testing is a component of numerous regulations established by regulating bodies for the participation of women in competitions. However, he acknowledged that the test was not flawless. Even though testosterone is an important factor shaping performance in elite athletes in certain sports, events, and disciplines, it does not necessarily predict the performance of an individual athlete, as scientists and the IOC concur. Men and women can possess testosterone levels that are classified as male levels and remain female, thereby continuing to compete as women. Is the notion that conducting a single testosterone test will resolve all issues? I am afraid that is not the situation, Adams stated. The IOC spokesman informed reporters that there has been a significant amount of misinformation disseminated, particularly on social media, which is detrimental. Last of super scandalous. Olympic organizers were already confronted with a controversy before the Games' official commencement. A group of drag queens and models strolled a red carpet runway along the Passerelle de Billy Bridge toward the conclusion of the 4-hour opening ceremony spectacle. RuPaul's Drag Race star Nikki Doll was one of those performers. Alongside Paloma and Pitch, the monarchs strutted the bridge during the Drag Race France competition. In a performance that was widely regarded as reminiscent of Leonardo da Vinci's renowned painting of the Last Supper, the monarchs were accompanied by a multitude of other models and performers. The French Catholic Church's Conference of Bishops condemned the segment, describing it as scenes of derision that mocked Christianity. Religious conservatives from around the world also condemned the segment. According to Thomas Joly, the artistic director of the ceremony, the purpose was to commemorate diversity and honor French gastronomy and festivities. The Olympics X account characterized it as an interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus that makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. Additionally, Joly is scheduled to serve as the creative director for the closing ceremony on Sunday, which may prove detrimental to those who did not appreciate that segment of the ceremony. Enjoyed the content? Make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Your support helps us bring you more awesome content. Let us know your thoughts and what you'd like to see next.